and welcome to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. I'm Kristi Bowdish, your host for today's episode, and joining me is Michael Gura. Michael is a Utah real estate professional and a seniors real estate specialist, known for combining sharp negotiation skills with years of marketing and media experience. We'll talk about that soon. He's also active in the community, serving as executive chair of the Mill Creek Business Council. Today, we'll dive into his journey, how he approaches today's market, and the future of real estate in Utah. Okay, hello, Michael.
Hi.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah, of course. There's so much that we get to go over today, and I'm super excited. So tell me about Kevin Cruz.
Oh, boy, that guy. Mm-hmm. So Kevin Cruz was my on-air radio name. So I did spend over 20 years on the radio prior to real estate. And when I moved to Utah in 2000, I was still going by my given name, Michael, or Mike, on the air. I was on another radio station prior to moving to Salt Lake. And when I got here, the guy that hired me, his name on air was Michael. His real name is Andrew, but he went by Michael on the air. And I was on before him, and he had told me, you can't go by your name. So the short version of this long story is he gave me two options for the name. Kevin Cruz was one of them. That's the one I went with. And for over 20 years, people would call me Kevin.
And people still know you as Kevin Cruz, would you say?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I feel like you've met people along the way and they'll be like, oh, you're Kevin Cruz? Like it was a childhood name for all of us radio listeners.
Yeah, I'd say that once they figure it out. But more often than not, it's, you seem so familiar to me. Mm. Once they hear my voice, they can't place it. And they're like, why are you familiar? You seem like, have we met? I get that a lot. Have I met you before? No, we haven't met. I mean, it's possible, but the reality is that they don't put the two and two together. They hear my voice. They heard me on the radio in Salt Lake for 15 plus years here. So I can see where someone would be confused and just feel familiar.
Yeah.
I get that too. Just, you seem very familiar to me. I'm like, yeah, I bet I do. And just keep it moving.
Cool. And you just keep it in your pocket.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't bring it up anymore. It's not, that was a past life.
Yeah. So now you're a real estate agent. How long have you been an agent?
I don't know. What time is it? It's like, it feels like it's been what, I'm on my 6th year in real estate, but it feels like it's been 5 minutes. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that.
So you started right before COVID, right?
Right as COVID was going on, yes. So not right before it, but like right when it hit.
Interesting.
So I am a COVID agent. We kind of have a bad rep.
I'm a COVID agent.
I am. There's the people that started in COVID because everyone thinks you make so much money in real estate. That was not the reason I went into it. It was a completely different reason. But there are the people that started in COVID and are probably not doing it now. I
was going to say most of the COVID agents probably are no longer real estate agents.
But we do have, it's a dirty word out there, the COVID agent. I'm a COVID agent. Sorry, I started during COVID.
Okay, so I do have questions in regard to that. So I know that you were in radio for 20 years is a long time. And so 15 of that was in locally.
I was 13 years before I left to go to Atlanta. And then I was back on the air for another 2.5 years. So about 15 and a half years total in Salt Lake.
Cool. And what first drew you into real estate?
The money, obviously, because everyone makes so much money in real estate. No, that's not true. I have bought and sold homes. And I've moved across the country multiple times and bought and sold homes across the country while you're moving. And it's a big pain in the butt. And there are good agents out there. And there's a lot of really bad realtors out there. And I thought, if somebody has to go through this process, the process of moving from Salt Lake City to Atlanta, Georgia, closing your house, getting all of your stuff out there, your job. Well, what really happened was the job wanted me out there before I could get the house sold. So I have half my stuff in across the country, the other half here, trying to sell a house, go through all those negotiations with your realtor and the buyer and all of that. And then they go through their inspection. You're dealing with repair, all the things that happen. And then you actually have to come back, sign the papers, close it, move all your crap out, and get it to where you're going. It's hard.
And across the country, not down the street or to a different county.
So at that point, after doing that a few times, actually, I said, there's got to be there's better ways to do this. You can give better service. And so that was really the catalyst of this. When I looked at things, I was like, I know I can do better service than I've received. And I had some good realtors too. It's not like I had some bad realtors. I think everyone's gone through that, right? We've had bad realtors, but I've had some really good ones. And even then I was like, people can still do more. You can still provide a better service to your clients.
I love that. And you do. I happen to know. How would you say that your career in radio helped or assisted in your current real estate position?
Oh, I have a personality.
Okay.
You do. Fun story. I was at an open house in Sandy. This was the end of 2024. And I met a gentleman and his wife. They'd come through the open house, and I was talking to them. And immediately the guy, and they weren't from Utah. They live in New Jersey. They have a house here or whatever. And he goes, "You're not from here." And I went, "Well, no, I didn't grow up here, but I mean, I've lived here for over 20 years. And he goes, "Yeah, you're not from here. You have a personality."
Ooh.
Which I thought was kind of funny. Like, not to like.
Interesting.
Not to like say anything about anyone else from Utah, but I mean, I would say that was more of a reflection of realtors than Utah natives.
That's good.
How about that?
You do have a personality, and I do feel like that assists you in your position.
I mean, the real answer to that question is over 20 years of marketing and advertising experience, coming up with campaigns, advertising campaigns from major brands, from Mountain Dew to Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I've done things for Brighton Ski Resorts. Just so many different companies and brands that to take that and to put it into myself, I think that's the difference. I know how to market. I know how to advertise, not only myself, but that also includes marketing and advertising a property that I might have listed for sale. Where everyone else is going to do the same thing, I look for different, unique things that are going to catch your attention, because they might seem a little off the wall, but when you do it, like, no one else is doing that, right? They're doing because they want to present themselves as, no, I'm the luxury realtor, and they don't come across with any personality at that point. So I think taking those tips and tricks over 20 years, turning it into how do we properly market a house, how do you properly market yourself as a brand, those things I think are what actually separate me, is that I have a wealth of in years of experience.
I will say that your marketing and advertising is bar none the most entertaining that I've seen, the most consistent. So I won't tell all your secrets online, but some of the stuff that I receive in my mailbox are diabolical. It's so fun, and it's I expect it. I look forward to that, because I know that picture of you is going to be all ski wampus and something totally out
like
of this
riding
world.
A moose.
Yeah, exactly.
Who rides a moose?
Michael
Me.
Gura.
I ride a moose. Why not?
Why
But
not?
that's the thing, like, right? Like, this can be fun, and this should be fun, and people need to learn how to lean into themselves as their brand. I know who I am, and maybe that's part of it, right? Like, this could get into a whole more philosophical conversation of like, do you know who you are? But we are so, as humans, are so uncomfortable being vulnerable and showing vulnerabilities. But when you do that, it attracts other people to you. And, look, I'm only looking to attract the same type of energy, right? Like, I've met with people. Just because I meet with someone doesn't mean I'm going to work with them as their realtor. It may not work out. I mean, that just happened recently I met with a guy and I'm like, this guy's not going to hire me and I wouldn't want to work with him anyway because he's a pain in the butt. And I can already tell. But as a realtor, you really need to lean into yourself because you are your brand. But everyone wants to project this image of, oh, I'm going to go, rent on Turo a car, a really fancy car, and get my picture taken with me because now I'm in a Lamborghini and I sell luxury houses. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just wasted a whole bunch of money renting that car and putting these photos online so that on your social media you look really cool. But the reality is you've sold 3 homes in the last 12 years. You're certainly not doing any business up in Park City. So instead of leaning into this image of who you're not, why don't you lean into who you are and let people fall in love with just you?
That's a really great tip of advice. Just authenticity. Be your authentic self, and then the like energy will come for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I did want to ask you, can you think of a deal or a moment in your early career that really tested you, made you think maybe I should go back to radio or maybe I should find a whole path?
Certainly.
Do you remember specifically what that was and what
could
you
be
learned from it?
the woman who hung up the phone on me because she assumed that my sellers were going to sue, or my buyers rather. She was representing the sellers. Well, they breached the contract and I had brought that up, and then she goes, "Oh, so you're going to sue us," and then hung up.
Oh.
And I mean, this woman's older than me. I mean, she was at least 20 years older than me. I had met her at the open house. This was the COVID years when everything was going crazy. And rightfully, my clients, and on our side, we were in the right and we knew it. And I kind of let that one simmer because I knew we were in the right. The next day she called me back and, we had the actual conversation. But that was one where I'm like, if these are the people that I have to work with, like, this is not going to be the right career, I guess. And then I've worked with clients where I've had, like, I've kind of flown off the handle, at least in the early part of my career, because I wasn't working with the right people. I wasn't set up with the right clients. People might have been referring me and that was appreciated. But I should have learned that was not the right person to work with. We didn't gel. Like, that's something you have to be able to gel with your realtor, right? Like, you have to be able to trust them. And I didn't have the trust with one seller in fact. I mean, I even got her house under contract and she wasn't happy, but we ended up parting ways. And I thought it was something on me. And then I looked back at that and I went, no, this was a woman who never wanted to have me represent her in the beginning. And she felt forced to because her daughter was a friend of mine, but she never wanted to use me, which is fine. No, I'm not for everybody, right? But like, I can recognize that today instead of that first year and a half of being in and just, because your first year and a half, 2 years, you're just trying to do any business.
Close
you're like,
all the deals.
Yeah. Like, oh, great. You're going to sign a listing agreement with me? Hell yeah, let's go. And you're not thinking about your clientele and like, am I actually going to do a good job? Am I a good fit for this person? Because we're not a good fit for everyone. I'm not, like I just said, I'm not a good fit for everybody. For most people, I am. I mean, I met Victor was his name 2 weeks ago. Was referred to him by his neighbor, who was a client of mine, who I've sold their house, helped them purchase a house, know his neighborhood very well. I've got friends in that neighborhood. And I walked in and I immediately knew within 30 seconds, this guy doesn't want to work with me. And for various reasons, and he can have his reasons, that's fine. And to be honest, I left going, I don't want to work with this guy either. He's going to be a big pain in the butt.
Interesting. So your first comment about being hung up on, I feel like I know you pretty well, and I feel like that is not something that would deter you as a human. But it sounds like it was kind of an extended experience with said agent. So the hang up on was just like the final straw. I can't imagine that deterring you from a whole career.
I think at that point I was also dealing with a very difficult client. So it's a matter. So maybe not giving you the whole story of it. It wasn't just a listing agent that was being difficult. I was dealing with a very difficult client that was very demanding of my time and my energy. That honestly, that client then went to go sell the house that they eventually purchased. And I have recently let them go because they were just not, again, it just goes back to, are we a good fit? They weren't a good fit for me. At that time, they were driving me nuts. That listing agent was driving me nuts. So it was enough to go, is this the right thing to do? I mean, we could go back to 2023. That was a good time where it wasn't a good time. 2023 was a horrible year. The market had shifted. My business had dried up. I went 11 months without a closed transaction.
Wow.
And that almost drove me out, to be honest, more than anything. So we were dealing with a personal family member who was sick and had passed away that year. So that was dealing with that, then trying to find business, the market shifting. I mean, it was a lot. But, everything passes. That too shall pass, and it did.
Yeah, 2023 was an interesting year for real estate, for sure. I mentioned earlier that you're a seniors real estate specialist. How do you tailor your service when working with clients over 50 or older? Like, what do you consider a senior aside from?
Just the generic, like, that's their descriptive thing, because they're like, oh, you're 55 and older, so now you're a senior. I mean, real senior is 80 plus. Like, that's getting up there, right? Where, okay, maybe there's some medical issues or some just, I don't want to, how do I say that? Mind issues. Like, there's just maybe some competency that you have to be aware of. But it's also, working with seniors also means understanding probate and dealing with family members and what are their thoughts. I mean, it's a pretty big bag when you're dealing with seniors, because you've got, it's similar to a new home buyer when they're younger and mom and dad show up to the house and they want to walk through the house. You're kind of getting the reverse of this, of mom and dad are older and getting moved into assisted living, or they're moving in with family members, and those family members have some say as well. And so it's really handling and juggling all of those little pieces. But there's anything different than if you were working with a $2 million client. It's all pretty much the same stuff. But it's really getting to know them. I have one, so if you're not opposed to a story, I had a gentleman, his name's Jim, and Jim is over 80, and his wife's a bit younger. We were working on selling their house. And I wasn't aware of this with Jim, but little touch of maybe sundowners. I don't think it was actually a doctor had, diagnosed him, but his family members had seen it. And so we had the house under contract, and the buyer fell out. They canceled. And when this all happened, it was in the winter, and, so the sun's down earlier. I think it was like 5:30 or 6. So the sun's already down. And again, I'm not aware of Jim's initial whatever condition. I don't even know if he has a condition, but his family members say this is kind of what happens. Once the sun goes down, he gets agitated. And I had to call when the sun was down and say, hey, this buyer just canceled your contract, and they're not moving forward with the sale of your house. This is also going to affect the purchase of your new house. And Jim kind of had lost it. And he yelled at me and he swore at me. And his wife was on the phone and was like, I'm so sorry. That's not like him. And I knew that wasn't like him. I talked to him many times and had great conversations with him. But I also understood his frustrations. Well, it wasn't until after that the family member said, hey, by the way, we think this is going on. Okay, well, that's a good note to have. Like, thanks for telling me and cluing me in.
Yeah.
I will make sure that
beforehand.
Right. Yeah. So now it's a matter of, okay, cool. I know this about Jim. So any conversations we're going to have them first thing in the morning. Yeah. That's it. Like, if something's coming up at 5 o'clock, you're not going to hear from me. We're going to wait till tomorrow morning when he's fresh and he can understand it and he can process everything properly. What ended up happening that night that the buyer canceled, I was actually headed back home from showing homes, and I was back in Mill Creek, and they were in Daybreak, and he needed me to be there face to face. So they had called me back. I said, I'm turning around right now. I'm headed to Daybreak. I put dinner on hold and everything. I'm like, we got to sit down and talk. So I turned around, drove the 30, 40 minutes down to Daybreak to their house. And then we sat down, and by that point he had cooled down and he apologized for swearing and everything. And I was like, it's not anything I haven't heard before. I've been sweared at before. Like, people swear at me. It's not, you want to be the first one to tell me to take a hike.
Yeah.
And then we were able to figure it out. So I think that's when it comes to an older population, each one is different in their needs. I mean, you and I just closed one out in June, and they were going from a 55 plus community back to just, a non 55 plus community, because they were actually younger. They're in their early 60s, and they're like, we don't want to be around all these old fuddy-duddies. We thought we did. We thought this is what we wanted, but that's not. And they're they've got all their faculties. They're still working, like all of these things. So just because you're 55 and older, there's not one set way to handle things. You kind of just, in every situation, you're just assessing what are their needs. For that couple that we closed back in June, their needs were to be in a more active community and around younger people. But then there's other people that are moving into assisted living or don't want to make that move. And being able to understand their emotions and where they're at. That's the first thing. Like, you got to see where they're coming from. Once you know that, then you can help guide them to what their goals are.
I love that. Okay, what's one challenge you see clients struggling with in today's market, and how do you help them navigate it?
Oh, well, today's market's kind of screwy.
Yeah, we were just talking about that at lunch today, because
we were.
Today's market is so different than March's market is so different than a year ago.
Right.
Today's market. The market just keeps shifting incredibly.
So are we talking buyers or sellers?
Let's do both. Let's start with buyers.
Start with buyers. So at buyers currently, buyers are getting a good deal. You can get the home under the list price. We've been able to do that. We've been able to cover closing costs. And in some cases, we're capturing too much money. The lender doesn't even know how to use it all. So in that case, they're getting rate buy down, so their interest rates are lower for the first at least year. But I would say for a buyer right now, either way, we're in a very balanced market. We're recording this in October of 2025, and today's market is tough, but is very balanced. So for buyers, you have a lot of options. There's a lot more inventory on the market than there has been for the last 5 years. But prices are up, and nobody likes that, and interest rates are up, and I get that. So they have more choices, so it's fierce competition for sellers, right? Sellers are in a fierce competition with how many buyers, because one, there's not a lot of buyers out there, and they have a lot of options. So sellers have to be patient. It's taking at least 64, 65 days right now for days on market to get your home under contract, and you have to price it right. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to is the right price. And that, whether that was in the COVID market or that's in the 2023 market or 2024 market or even today, it all comes down to listing it right. So for sellers, I would say, one, you got to be patient. It's going to take 60 to 90 days to get under contract. That's normal. I know it doesn't feel normal. That's normal. We want that. Price it right. Please clean your house. I can't tell you how many homes I go into that are not. Please clean your house before you list it. And then for buyers, you've got options. You can see multiple homes and you can go back to them. I've gone back with a few buyers to the same home multiple times. So you're not just like walking through it really quick with 100 other people and then trying to determine, is this the right house? No, we have time to go look at it again. I'll run all the comparables on the recently solds. Let's see if the price is right. And then from there, I'd say shoot your shot.
I love that. You do say shoot your shot to your clients a lot. And I think it's a good way to look at it, because if you like this house, give it what you got, and it's either yours or it's not. But you
Yeah.
might as well try.
Worst thing someone's going to say to you is no.
Yeah.
What's
in
that
life
going to do?
In general.
That's going to just put you right at the same spot you were just at.
Yeah.
So as a buyer, you have literally zero risk.
Yes.
There's nothing. The only thing stopping you at that point is yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's true in life. Like, you can do anything. You just have to put your mind to it and do it. Failing just means you didn't accomplish it. I mean, I would say failing is when you stop trying.
Yes.
Right? Like, if you keep going and keep going and keep going, you're going to accomplish it. You'll get there. You're going to fall on your face. We all have done it. I've done it. You've done it. You're going to fall on your face over and over again until you get it right. But if you're a buyer, yeah, shoot your shot. And don't worry. Like, look, this is just, everyone gets in their emotions and their feels, and I don't want to disrespect the seller. You're not. You're just putting it, it's just numbers at this point.
And you never know. They could be like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever, let's do it.
Right. You never know what situation the other side's in either. But it's always a no.
Yep.
Always. You're never going to get that house if you don't even try. Put an offer in. They say no. Okay, move on. I think the trick to that is not getting attached to the house when you're putting that offer in, because we all do it. We get attached to these things, and our attachment is what's creating the disappointment. Hey, I'm just putting this in. If it happens and we can make it work, awesome. If we can't, there's going to be another one out there.
Yeah. It's not your house.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the Mill Creek Business Council. You serve in the council. How does that service impact your real estate work, or does it?
I've met more people through the Mill Creek Business Council, which I mean, it's such a mouthful to say Mill Creek Business Council. I mean, how many syllables is that? That's so many. I guess we could clap it out, but that is Mill Creek's version of a chamber of commerce. The difference is that there are no dues or fees paid by members. So if you have a business in Mill Creek, you're already a member of the business council. That has allowed me to do a few things: volunteer to my community and to my city of Mill Creek, but it's also, and then supporting other business owners, right? Like, as a real estate professional, as a realtor, I run my own business. And it's important to be around others who run their own business as well, because, you know, I can, like, perfect example are my insurance agents happen to be good friends of mine and clients, and they run their own business, and we can kind of commiserate over what works and what doesn't work. And maybe there's something from their industry and something they're doing with their clients that I can also implement on the real estate side that you didn't really think of. But that's small business owner to small business owner talking and coming up with different ideas. Also, how do we just lift up our friends and help them and support them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about that. Like, we should all just support our friends and cheer on their wins. So through the business council, I've been able to be involved with the community. I learned, honestly, I got involved just so I know what was going on in the city. But I've made great business relationships with it and friendships with it. It's helped my business in many cases. I've gotten referrals from that. But ultimately, it's just, what good are you putting out into your community? How are you being the change that you wish you could see in the world?
Yes, Gandhi. Thank you, Gandhi.
Yes. I mean, I say it all the time, so live by what you say, right?
Yeah.
I have said that since I was a teenager. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And ever since I heard Gandhi had said that, and there's something about saying it, you can talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk.
Yeah. So true. Also, I know those the insurance agents. I met them at when you did that LLS campaign. So Michael and Michael did all the heavy lifting. Tell us a little bit about that campaign and what that looked like for you.
So leukemia, you're talking about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Thank you. I would have botched that if I tried to
that was this year, back in spring, and you were on my team, and I appreciate that. And we raised, actually, I think I don't remember the final total. I think it was like 23,000
Yeah.
is what we ended up at. But our team raised over 20,000. We'll just call it over 20,000 for cancer research for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I was one of 5 what they call visionaries of the year. And then out of the 5 of us, it was a blind competition to see who could raise the most money. Our team came in 3rd, which is still very respectable. Second would have been, we were just behind second place, to be honest. And I think even with the money that we raised at the gala, the final night, I think we surpassed second place, but
They had already
they had already said who won. So, but good to the team that won, and together the 5 teams raised over $100,000 for cancer research. And that was challenging. It was challenging. It was hard to do. It's hard to ask people for money.
It is. And it was a real busy time, at least for me. I remember it was just so busy. I think I was looking for an assistant and there was just a lot going on. But do you happen to remember the thing that I gained from that fundraiser, the night of the dinner?
The giant head?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? My giant head?
The giant Michael Gura. What do they call them? Fat heads,
Fat
right?
heads, yes. That sits in your office now.
Yeah, sits in my office. So if anybody if you want to see Michael Gura's giant
head. If you haven't gotten enough of this giant head, it's even bigger.
It is bigger. And I'll pull it out for you. I usually just have it out and people ask questions. They're like, who is that guy? I'm like, well,
they should know.
They should know.
They should know.
Now I can say, listen to this podcast.
Yes. And they'll turn it off after 5 seconds. If you've made it this far, by the way, congratulations. I have no idea how this is getting edited either, but
same.
Congrats.
You made it this far.
Congrats on making it this far through the podcast.
So
I'm never being asked back.
Yes, you are. I did mention earlier about your campaigns and your marketing and advertising and just how on point they are. Even, by the way, like the timing that you use. Again, I won't go into detail because you have it like down to a science, but your timing, the information that you provide is super helpful. What is one strategy or shift that's working well for you or for your clients that you wish more agents would adopt? So something that when you have a split or a under contract, what is something that you wish all agents would do that is something
communicate?
That you do?
Pick up the phone.
Easy.
Have a phone call.
Oh, wow.
Please do not make this all about text messages.
Yikes, that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's totally easy. I mean, that's I get that we live in this world where it's super easy to just send a quick text message or a quick email, but the things that we're dealing with, we need to have conversations.
Yeah.
Like this, 90% of them should not be done over text message. Can I respond and have that? Sure, yes. But at some point, we're going to end up on the phone because it's not going to all go through text. At some point, I will be calling you because it's just faster and easier to communicate if we just have a quick phone call. I mean, and they don't even last more than 5 minutes typically. Because
then you have to write it in an addendum anyway. Or typically, like whatever agreement you came through after talking it out, you can type it up in an addendum and...
Right. I mean, it's just... everything would be easier if it was just a phone call, but...
Straight communication.
I mean, that's just the old Gen X in me.
All right. Where do you see the greatest opportunities for growth in your market over the next 3 to 5 years? For buyers, sellers, or agents, like just in real estate in general, where's the growth opportunity if you had a crystal ball and could guess?
I mean, that's a big question. Growth opportunities. I don't have the answer to that, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's tricky.
It's going to be interesting to see what, I mean, a lot of real. Here's what I know. Here's how I will answer that question. Everything changes every 6 months in real estate. Sometimes every 3 months. Just kind of depends. This year it's changed at least 3 times, I would say. Like we had said earlier in the podcast that, March, what it's like today in October of 25 versus where it was in March of 25, very different. Maybe not very different, but different. Definitely slower.
Noticeably different. Yeah.
So where does it go from here? I will tell you this. And I think this is the answer to this question is real estate in Utah will always be a smart investment. So for clients, so if you're considering, again, if you've made it through this podcast this long and you're a buyer and you're considering buying a house, first of all, why are you listening to this podcast?
You never know.
But I would say this. No, I kid. But real estate's always going to be a good investment here. And there's one reason for that. Back in 2017, I actually was on the board of directors for the Utah Global Forum is what it was called. And that was out of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. They call it something else now, but back then it was GOED. Governor's Office of Economic Development.
That's a mouthful. I feel
that is a mouthful. So the Global Forum, Utah's Global Forum from GOED is all about how local companies here can expand and go international. But then it's also about how do international companies do business inside Utah. And I was working with all of the international companies leading up to this conference here in Utah. And the thing I found out, which I found not surprising once it was said to me, I went, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. Is that foreign investment will always be strong in the state of Utah for one simple fact, and that is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. While I am not a member of that church, it's because those members go on their mission, they learn a different language, and then they come back here to Utah, and now they're bilingual. So we have a very bilingual population because if I'm in Germany and I'm a German company and I can pick up the phone and speak German to someone in Utah, well, then I'm going to have that barrier's gone. So now I'm going to definitely do business with you because you speak my language, you understand me, and I don't have to speak another language to try to do business with you, or there's not going to be a miscommunication there. So the same applies for Mandarin. Well, if I'm a Chinese company, I can pick up the phone, speak Mandarin in Utah. Why wouldn't I want to do business in Utah? So if we say real estate is tied to the economy, Utah's economy is always going to be strong because we have a bilingual population, because we have returned missionaries coming back speaking multiple languages, and that's why more investment will continue to be in the state of Utah. So because of that, now as we layer on top, strong economy means people are going to need housing. That means housing stays strong and continues to grow. Unfortunately, for those people who feel like they're locked out and they're not going to be able to get into a house, it's not going to get better. Values are only going to rise. I don't see a massive economic calamity happening to the state of Utah. Now, it might happen nationally,
right?
But even in 2008, when that whole housing crisis happened, Utah had a less of an impact than anywhere else in the country. So Utah got hit, but less than anywhere else. So because of these reasons, real estate's a great investment here. So whether you're a buyer or a seller, I mean, I wouldn't sell unless I had to move to another state. I'd be looking for more opportunities to purchase real estate in Utah, because if you're buying it and holding it, it's a great investment.
Interesting. Well, and I do know, I mean, I feel like it's common knowledge to hold real estate, but it's fascinating the story you tell about the bilingual humans, because it makes perfect sense, especially for languages that aren't as common as others, you know? So that is an interesting, I've never heard you talk about that before. So thank you. Okay. What advice would you give to younger agents or new agents who want to build longevity and resilience in this business? New agents or even just baby agents, young and new?
I would say even someone who's been in it for a long time, it's all about consistency. That's it. There's one word. You have to be consistent with whatever you're doing. If you are doing traditional marketing like I do, which is more postcards, right? I also do online stuff as well. Or maybe you're fully online. Maybe you're only using Instagram. Use Instagram every day though. Be posting every day. Be consistent about what you're doing. Don't overpost. There's a limit there, right? But however you're marketing yourself as a marketer and as a brand, you need to remind people about what you do. So you need to be consistent in that. There's this old analogy we had from my radio years, which is McDonald's, right? Everyone knows McDonald's. I'll give you the McDonald's analogy. You can go to any McDonald's in the United States, and the menu's the same, right? I bet you could name at least 5 items on that menu right now.
Probably, yeah.
And you probably don't ever really go to McDonald's.
That's true, yeah.
Right? So
both
exactly.
things are true, yeah.
So you and I could both name items on a menu at McDonald's, like the Big Mac. Everyone knows McDonald's sells a Big Mac. So my question is, why does McDonald's advertise that they sell a Big Mac? We just had this brief conversation of we all know what the menu looks like. We all know what's on there. I know where to get a quarter pounder with cheese.
Yeah.
So why do they keep reminding me that they sell a quarter pounder with cheese for decades?
Yeah. When everybody already knows what they sell and where they're located. And
so it's just to remind you that that's where you get a Big Mac or a quarter pounder with cheese. So as a realtor, and you're a new realtor, you're building your brand, right? You have got to get in front of people and you've got to be consistent about it. And that is how you build a brand.
Remind them what you do. I like that constantly. What a good
analogy.
analogy.
Even though it seems annoying, you kind of have to think of yourself as the Kanye West of real estate. And I say that not as a fan of Kanye West at all.
Oh, wow.
And have never been a fan of Kanye West, even when I worked in hip hop.
You did work in hip hop,
did.
so let's touch on that
we're going
for a
back
minute.
to that.
We
All right,
are.
see,
Okay.
again, if you
Kevin
have been in this
Cruz.
podcast, you are getting
made
so
it
many
this long.
juicy nuggets.
All right, Kevin Cruz, put your Kevin Cruz hat on and tell me some of the experiences you had in radio, because I've heard a few and they're pretty fun and fascinating. You don't have to tell me anything that's not PG, because we're going to keep that here. But
Are you saying that non-PG things happen?
We started as you as a stripper, so I guess we've already run the gamut.
I feel sorry for those people that saw that.
So
it wasn't much to look at.
Remind me of some of the people you've met. I know there were some great ones.
I mean, I met Eminem. I was a baby. He was a baby. I mean, I think he and I are like the same age. Maybe he's a few years older than me. I've hung out with Snoop, Warren G, Nate Dogg, R.I.P. Nate. Boy, who else? Lil Jon. Pitbull.
You were mainly Kevin Cruz in the 90s, or was it after the 90s?
2000s.
Oh, the 2000s was like your full stint.
Yes.
Okay, 2000s.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, just so many artists. I mean, I became friends with artists. Ice Cube. There's other artists that have, unfortunately, because I did work in hip hop, and there's gangs, and I've had artists that have passed away from gang violence. That's been hard when you're friends with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's been a bunch. I mean, the story is always, people want to ask me who's the nicest, and it's really, that's not the fun stories. Like, most of them were nice, mostly because they needed something from me, because I controlled the radio station. So the artist is gonna be nice to me because they want me to play their song on the radio, right? I guess I could tell. Well, the question is, who did I think was mean, or I could tell the Rihanna story. The Rihanna story is maybe a little more exciting.
Okay, so who did you think was mean? We're going to do both, actually.
Warren G.
Warren G was mean.
Warren G was kind of a jerk, and I hold a grudge on this one. I mean, this was this was over 15 years ago. Okay? I'm still holding on to this. So,
okay.
Warren, if you're watching this podcast, I mean, I'm sure he's not, but if he is, there is a chance.
Okay, wait. First of all, Warren G, if you're listening to this podcast, you should buy a house in Utah. And when you do, call Michael Gura.
Yeah. I don't think he will after what I say. So I was on in the air in the afternoons. So I was on from 2 p.m. till 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. And Warren G was supposed to be on my show. And we were just playing the crap out of his new single. But this big radio station in Los Angeles was barely playing it. So here we are supporting Warren G. It was my decision. We get him into Utah. He's going to be on the air with me. We've been promoting it for a week. And the time he was supposed to be on the air with me, he was sitting outside in the hallway, like literally right outside the studio door. And he was on the phone complaining that his song wasn't really being played in LA. And I'm like, dude, you're missing your opportunity to be on the air with me right now when we're supporting you. And people in Salt Lake like your new song.
Yeah.
I mean, he eventually came on, but he missed the whole, like, there was a whole feature going on with it. There was a countdown that I did at 4:00. He was supposed to be on it with me. And instead of, like, appreciating the fact that we were supporting him, he was not on the air when he was supposed to be, on the phone complaining that somebody else wasn't playing his song. I thought that was pretty rude and unprofessional.
Pessimistic.
Yeah, I mean, we still played the song and whatever, and he did the thing, and we moved on. But, I mean, I obviously have not let that one go.
Okay, let's hear about Rihanna.
So, Rihanna, this one's fun. So, you know Rihanna's song, Rude Boy?
Yeah.
And can we talk about this? First of all, her name is Rihanna, not Rihanna.
Okay.
She calls herself Rihanna.
Okay.
The whole rest of the population calls her Rihanna, but when she refers to herself, it's Rihanna.
Okay.
So
like
I don't
Rihanna.
clear that up. It's
Yeah.
Rihanna, not Rihanna.
Now you know.
All right. You're welcome,
We
Rihanna.
don't just teach about
Send
real
some
estate
Fenty to me. No, why would I?
Send some what?
Fenty, her makeup line or
Oh,
her lingerie
right.
or whatever it is. I don't know.
What?
I don't know, Rihanna. So her album came. You remember the song Rude Boy?
Yes.
Call me Rude Boy. Okay, I'm not going to sing it. But so that song on that album, and I can't even remember the name of the album today. It's been so long. But Rihanna was not putting out hits off that album. So she had a single out, and it was not doing well. And this is the days before, like, music was wildly available, right? So the album got leaked, and we had downloaded it onto a CD. Not me, my better half, maybe. Someone else put it onto a CD, and we were listening to it going off to the movies, actually at the Gateway. I remember this night like it was yesterday. We pull into the parking garage of the Gateway as Rude Boy comes on. And I'm like, hold on a minute. And I turn the song up, and we go and we're parking. And we park in the parking garage, and Rude Boy ends, and I hit repeat. And I'm like, we got to listen to this one more time. And so I listened to Rude Boy one more time, and I'm like, that song's a smash. So the next day, we started playing it. We weren't supposed to have it, like, as a radio station. It hadn't been distributed by her record label, which at the time I believe was Def Jam. So I just took the poor audio quality that we downloaded illegally, and I put it on the air, and it started getting traction. And the story goes that Rihanna did not want that to be the next single.
Ooh.
We forced it to be the next single because it did so well in Salt Lake City, and it became the only number one off that album.
Oh, boy.
So it all started here in Salt Lake from me listening to an illegal copy of her album. And then the next single was S&M, which we also started. So there's a lot of music that actually started here in Salt Lake. People don't even realize that.
Way to go, Salt
There's
Lake.
my Rihanna story. And
There
I
you
actually
go.
eventually got to meet her in Los Angeles at a show.
And she's nice?
Sure, I met her for 30 seconds.
Okay.
I have a blurry photo,
Yeah.
but I met her.
Okay.
I was like, you probably aren't
Perfect.
going to like me, but okay, whatever.
Okay, I just have another question. Outside of the real estate and community service, what personal goals or dreams are you working toward in the next chapter? We talked about this recently,
you know this.
too.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so I just got back from Moab. I'm mad at myself, Kristi, because I spent over 20 years in Utah, and I've never spent time in Moab. And I finally was like, all right, I got to get down there. And, of course, I fell in love with it. So we're going to be hopefully buying a house within the next 12 months. This is kind of the goal.
Yeah, Moab,
Have a house
Utah.
down there, yeah. And then it
Michael's
comes to mountain bikes and all sorts of
hiking.
stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to say you are an avid hiker because we talk about that a lot, too. He does
Yes.
8 miles like it's a 30-mile walk or 30-second walk to the car, and I'm not that way.
You know, we beat our record. We were at 20 minutes a mile walking. when we were in Moab. So you think about
Is that
like
fast?
how most people run a mile at 10 minutes,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So they're running.
Yeah.
So I would say that's pretty good. I don't know. I think it's good.
Okay. That is fast.
It's
then.
fast.
Yeah.
We'd walk faster than you is what I'm saying.
I'll find out how fast of a mile I walk because I'm sure somebody in my life knows.
But we
And
did
then-
33 miles in 3 days, and it was exhausting. But
wow.
Moab is awesome. That's what's cool about Utah because the landscape is so different depending on where you're at.
Yes.
And there's so much to just love in this state. But stay away if you're living in another state. Don't come here. It's horrible. The Mormons are Mormony, and you can't get a drink. So
Yeah. So only
So
buy
don't
real
come.
estate if you already live in
Yeah.
Utah. Yeah.
otherwise, don't move here. There's no more water. It's just
yeah.
we have so
The
many issues
water.
out west.
Okay, well, I just appreciate your time and you've just been amazing.
No, thank you.
And
I
your
have been amazing.
experience- Your experience as Kevin Cruz and also your experience as a real estate agent is awesome. I see you grinding every single day. We work
Well, thank
together
you.
quite a bit and it's just been amazing to watch you grow from the guy of early 2020 to now.
Well, thank you. I
In every
appreciate
way.
that. I appreciate you and your support and everything. And again, if you've made it to this point in the podcast, I commend you. We should send them some cookies or something because
Yeah.
I think there's only 2 of us that are going to make it to the end of this, and it's you and me. And
I
whoever
won't
edits
listen to this. I
so
will not.
whoever
So
edits
one-
this, and maybe me.
You. Yeah.
So 1.5.
Okay.
So congratulations to everyone that made it to the end.
Yes. Thank you for listening to Nova Show Real Estate Records. Have a beautiful day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.